Listen and repeat.
Once upon a time, something great happened, for a family consisting of a husband, wife and 2 children with their maid. I leave you to hear this exciting story from the wife. I am a wife and mother of a son and a daughter, and since I started my life with my husband we have been living a prosperous life. Throughout my married life, I raised my children with many nannies, each of whom did not stay with me for more than 2 months, and then he escaped my husband's aggressive cruelty, as he was skilled at torturing any nanny who worked for us, and I do not deny that I shared his crime with him at times. When my daughter was 7 years old and my son was in middle school, a farmer from my husband's acquaintances came to us with his 7-year-old daughter, and my husband greeted him arrogantly. The simple farmer said he brought his daughter to work for us for £20 a month, and we agreed. The farmer left his daughter and burst into tears as she clutched her father's robe, and the man walked away with watery eyes. The little girl started her new life with us. She used to wake up early in the morning, help me prepare food for my children, then carry school bags, take them down to the street, stay standing with my daughter and son until the school bus picks them up, and go back to the apartment and have her breakfast. The girl's breakfast was often beans without oil, and the bread is about to rot, and then she starts doing household chores from cleaning, wiping, buying vegetables, answering calls until midnight, falling to the ground like dead and falling asleep. When any lapse or forgetfulness, or postponement of performing a required work, my husband beats her very harshly, and she endures the beating while crying patiently, and yet she was very honest, clean and faithful to her companions. She rejoiced in the simplest things. Although I confessed that I was a partner of my husband in his cruelty to the maids and his mastery in torturing them. But I sometimes took pity for this girl, for her kindness and brokenness, so I appealed to my husband not to beat her, and he used to tell me, "This class of people does not work with him good treatment." The girl continued to endure the torment in silence and patience, and even when Eid came, and my 2 children came out cheerful, this poor child kept cleaning and washing without a crack. As for her father, we only saw him a few times when he came to collect the fare, and then sent a relative to collect her monthly wages, and she only saw her mother and sisters on 3 limited occasions. The first time when her older brother died. The second time when she fell ill with a contagious disease and we feared for our children that they would be infected and we sent her to her town, and the third time when her father died. I cry now whenever I remember the cruelty of our punishment of her if she made a mistake, as my husband used to shock her with an electric cord. We often deprived her of dinner on harsh cold nights and she became hungry, and I do not remember that she slept a night, several long years, without crying. The author of the story says, "And you will wonder why she endured all this torment and did not escape with her skin from your hell? And I answer you, when the girl approached the age of youth, she went out one day to buy vegetables and did not return. My husband asked the doorman about her and he knew that she was talking to a young man who worked for a butcher on the same street, and that she might have agreed with him to marry in order to get her out of this harsh life. Upon her return, we received her with all kinds of torment, so my husband electrocuted her and my son volunteered to kick her violently. But my daughter was in pain with what he was doing to this poor maid. And the poor maid returned to her miserable life with us and surrendered to her fate. And if she made a mistake or postponed work for some time, he beat her severely. We used to have fun and go out on vacations and leave her the leftovers of the week's food. Then little by little we began to notice that the cups and plates fall from her hands and that she stumbles a lot in her gait. So we showed her to the doctor and he assured us that her eyesight is very weak and that she does not currently see what is under her feet. That is, she has become almost blind. Despite that, we did not have mercy on her and she kept doing all the housework and going out to buy vegetables from the market, and often slapped her if she returned from the market with vegetables that were not fresh. So the doorman's wife took pity on her and she used to buy vegetables for her in order to save her from humiliation and beatings. This continued for a while, and then one day the girl left the house after she was almost blind and did not return again, and we did not bother to look for her this time. Years passed, so my husband retired and lost the position and influence, and my son graduated from university, worked, married, and we were happy with his marriage. Our happiness was completed when we learned that his wife was pregnant. After the months of pregnancy she gave birth to her child. So we discovered that he is blind and does not see. It was a severe shock for us, and the joy turned into sadness, and we presented it to the doctors but to no avail. My son and his wife surrendered to the fait accompli. Our grandson gave birth to a nursery for the blind, and my daughter-in-law decided not to get pregnant for fear of a repeat of the disaster. But the doctors reassured her and encouraged her to become pregnant, and she got pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby, and the doctor gave us the good news that he sees like children. We were doubly happy with her, and after 7 months we noticed that her gaze is focused in one direction that does not deviate from it. We showed her to an ophthalmologist, and he shocked us with the more terrible fact that she only sees a glimmer of light and that she is also prone to losing her sight. So my husband suffered from a psychological condition that spoiled his days and hated everything, and the doctors advised us to admit him to a psychiatric hospital to treat him from depression. My heart contracted and I suddenly remembered what we were doing from Cruelty to the maid who ran away after spending 10 years with us, during which she tasted the horrors of electrocution, beatings, humiliation and deprivation, and worsened from panic. Is this heaven a punishment for us for what we did to her? The image of this orphan girl, whom we neglected to treat and made blind, haunts me in my loneliness, and my hope is that my Lord will forgive us for finding this girl an atonement for what we have done to her. After searching for her and asking about her, we learned that she works as a maid in a mosque. So I went to her and brought her to live with me for the rest of my days. And despite the harshness of the memories, this maid was happy to ask about her and my quest for her to return her. And she kept the 10 that we did not memorize, and she came back with me feeling the way, and I hold her hand. The girl settled with us and I became her maid and my blind grandson, and my hope and prayer to my Lord to forgive me for what was. Finally, I say advice to those whose hearts are merciless. God is alive and does not sleep. So do not be unjust and hard-hearted, because one day you will regret what you did and feel sorry.
I hope you like the story and that you have benefited from it. Please do not forget to share it with your friends, so that everyone benefits. Goodbye.